Happy New Year, everyone. This is Johan Magon from Ganister, and I'm presenting the new stuff coming in version 2.11, which has just been released. So it's a few things. The philosophy for these last few updates for version 2 is mainly to do any security enhancements, any performance enhancement we can provide, we can insert, we will do it. We try not to add features, we keep them for version 3. But for this version 2.11, we will see one of the features we've added because we had a good opportunity to do so. So first thing that you can see, if we refresh here the screen, the introduction has changed. It's not only a UI thing, it's not only visual, it's also tied to if the page really loaded entirely. It doesn't seem different than before in terms of time of loading, but it actually, the previous version was a fixed time loader. Now this is tied to what has been loaded. So it's actually shorter most of the time. Once you have cached some of the data, it's actually faster than it used to be. So I'm logging in. This is an empty instance I've just installed. And the feature I wanted to demonstrate is here, these categories. So far, everyone could see the same thing. The access management will only limit the access to the nodes inside here. So if there's someone who shouldn't have access to any software, it will still have access to software, but they won't see any data. So what we've added, for version 2, we just added a way to filter some of these elements. So it's mainly groups of categories. So here, what we call, so it would be design changes, manufacturing. That's what you can hide for some users. It wouldn't go to the detail of the node type elements for now. V3 the request might be different, and we might go deeper into the impacts of what we have created. It also works for reports. If you have reports and some of the reports are for a specific type of users, you will be able to limit the visibility here. So the way we do it is, so by default, if you're an admin, like I'm logged as, you can see everything and all the reports. But if you go in groups and users, I've created a few groups, test groups and users. And if I'm creating I'll create a new user, test 2. And I'll take that. So there's a new user. I just want to keep this. I'll open the notepad just to keep it. Okay. It's test 2. So test 2 has no group for now. So if I, but it is active. So if I open a new tab, and I'm logging out and looking at test2 at ganister.eu, and I'll pass the password. And you see I don't have anything here. So how do I get, so by default, this is how it will appear. So we have some recommendation on how to migrate to this version and making sure that you have everyone seeing everything. So let's get back here. I'm not sure the anonymous mode is not sharing. Let's see if I do this. I guess I'm still, no, it didn't keep my login. So I'm here. I didn't look at the right as the right user. So again, test Ganister. So back as an admin, I can see here. Let me open another window here, which will not share. So this is test 2, but I want to have. Okay, this one's good. So this will be. Let's refresh this. So yellow is going to be test 2. And black is going to be the admin test. Okay. So test 2 doesn't have access to anything. Black here, I'm as an admin. I will add test 2 to a group. You need to have to be a part of a group to get these accesses. So if, for example, I'm part of this group, add a user, test 2, and test 2 is here now. So you build your full structure here. And if you believe that employees, so a good way to manage this is to say employees as the tag employee. And when you do that, once you have set everything, you update the tags and it automatically gives a tag. You can see here, employee, because somehow there's a path from employee to this user. So you define the tags here. And then if you go in categories, you can add tags. So you can say, okay, employees have access to this. And that's it by default. So if I go back to here and I refresh, this user has now access to the main thing here. So if I want to provide more details, and I can say, okay, this group is actually not this, it's MRO. And the tags will be, what's the name of, let's say MRO. Update the tags. So these two have MRO and employee, not the others. If I go back here and I say, oops, not here, and I say MRO, this one doesn't make sense. Design changes, and let's say they have access to everything. Almost, not portfolio, neither purchasing. If I go back here, the user now has access to more things. And the same thing is available for reports. So if you write reports, you have a new property in the report definition where you add tags. So it defines who will have access to this. The filtering is server side, so this is secured. So based on the users, it returns the correct UI they should have access to. This is the main new feature. One small enhancement that we've made, it should have been obvious for a long time. If we create a part and then you want to create relationships, before there was just one access management checked for creating a relationship. It checks that the user can edit the source, and so this used to be checked for every relationship creation. In this case, the source is actually which is this part, is actually edited by myself. So there's no reason why I should check again if I have edit action. So we removed this, and we, if you use custom graph accesses, then it will make things better in terms of performances. Usually we don't see a lot of difference, because even with the full check, once it's cached in Neo4j, the performance of the queries are very good. So you won't see much difference. But it's just by principle, it doesn't make sense to recheck if you really have access to this. Apart from this, a few, I guess, security enhancements that has been done, but not much. The main thing for this version is the tag-based filtering of the UI, again for these categories, the left panel categories, and for the reports, which we can filter also. We're still working on v3. There's going to be at least one or two additional version for v2, and maybe more if the upgrade for v3 is not done directly by a company. Then you can still be on v2 for a while. We will maintain mainly any bug we will fix, and also the dependencies, all the libraries that we're using. If any recommendation is made for upgrading one of these dependencies, we are upgrading and adapting our code to maintain this. So we'll announce for how long we will maintain this. But today most of our time is definitely on the v3, which will provide new backend, new gconfig, also pretty much keeping the same experience. We don't want users and companies to be annoyed by any structural change. It's just better coding for us to evaluate in the future, to make it easier to make changes and get better performances. Again, have a great year 2023, and let's just keep in touch. Let us know if you have any question, any enhancement request. We're mainly discussing with customers, but if you're not a customer, don't be a stranger. Just email us and tell us how we could be better.